In the heart of the 13th century, when the world was trembling under the might of the Mongol Empire, a small nation in Southeast Asia stood at the crossroads of destiny. That nation was Dai Viet, known today as Vietnam. Its people, farmers and fishermen, poets and warriors, had long nurtured a spirit of resilience. Their story would reach its zenith through the deeds of one man, Tran Hung Dao, a general whose brilliance would be etched forever in the chronicles of world history. To understand the legend of Tran Hung Dao and the Bach Dang victory, we must first grasp the scale of the threat facing Dai Viet. The Mongols, under the leadership of Kublai Khan, had swept across Asia with unprecedented ferocity, toppling kingdoms, cities, and empires. Having conquered China, the Mongol gaze turned southward. Dai Viet, a land of rivers and rainforests, was to be the next jewel in the Mongol crown. Tran Hung Dao, born Tran Quoc Tuan, emerged from a lineage of nobility, but it was not privilege that defined him. It was his unwavering loyalty to his people and his keen understanding of both war and peace. When the Mongol armies first invaded in 1258, Tran Hung Dao was already recognized as a master strategist. He rallied the Vietnamese people, not just with words, but with a vision of disciplined resistance and unity. The invaders, used to swift victories, found themselves confounded by the guerrilla tactics and sheer determination of the Dai Viet forces. The first invasion was repelled, but the Mongols would return again and again, each time more determined. By 1287, Kublai Khan dispatched one of the largest invasion fleets ever seen in Asia. Over 300,000 men, hundreds of warships, and countless supplies surged southward, determined to crush Dai Viet once and for all. The Mongols, confident in their might, believed that Dai Viet would fall as so many others had. But Tran Hung Dao had been watching, waiting, and preparing. He knew that to meet the Mongols in open battle would be folly. Their cavalry was unmatched, their archers deadly. Instead, he turned to the land itself, the rivers, the tides, the forests. The Red River Delta, with its winding waterways, would become the crucible of Vietnamese resistance. Tran Hung Dao called upon his generals, his soldiers, and the common people. All would play a part in the defense of their homeland. As the Mongol fleet advanced, Tran Hung Dao orchestrated a series of feints and withdrawals, drawing the invaders deeper into unfamiliar terrain. The Vietnamese scorched the earth, destroying crops and supplies, leaving the Mongol armies hungry and frustrated. Skirmishes erupted along the riverbanks, each a reminder that this land would not be easily subdued. But the true masterpiece of Tran Hung Dao's genius was yet to come. He understood the rhythms of the tides, the secrets of the Bach Dang River. Centuries earlier, the Vietnamese hero Ngo Quyen had won a legendary victory against foreign invaders using the river's tides. Tran Hung Dao resolved to follow in his footsteps, but with even greater cunning. Months before the final confrontation, the Vietnamese labored in secret. At low tide, they drove thousands of sharpened wooden stakes deep into the bed of the Bach Dang River, their points facing downstream. These stakes would be invisible at high tide, hidden beneath the muddy waters, but deadly when the tide receded. The plan required precise timing, nerves of steel, and the cooperation of the entire nation. As the Mongol fleet entered the Bach Dang River in April 1288, Tran Hung Dao set his trap in motion. The Vietnamese launched small boats, harassing the fleet, drawing them further into the narrow channel. The Mongol commanders, believing victory was within their grasp, pressed forward. But as the tide began to ebb, disaster struck. The river's waters drained away, revealing the forest of stakes. The mighty warships became trapped, their hulls pierced, their crews thrown into chaos. From the banks, Vietnamese archers unleashed a storm of arrows. Fire ships loaded with combustibles were sent hurtling towards the immobilized fleet. Panic spread through the Mongol ranks. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The river, which had promised a path to glory, became a graveyard. The victory at Bach Dang was total. the Mongol fleet was annihilated. Survivors who tried to escape found themselves hunted through the forests and swamps. The dream of conquering Dai Viet died on that river. Kublai Khan, who had never known defeat on such a scale, was forced to abandon his ambitions for Southeast Asia. Tran Hung Dao's name became synonymous with wisdom, patience, and resolve. But the triumph at Bach Dang was more than a military victory. It was a testament to the power of unity, ingenuity, and the indomitable will of a people fighting for their homeland. Tran Hung Dao's leadership was rooted not just in strategy, but in compassion. He urged his soldiers to respect the lives of both friend and foe. After the battle, he issued proclamations ensuring that the wounded were cared for and that the dead were buried with dignity. His legacy would endure long after the last echoes of battle faded. Generations of Vietnamese would look to Tran Hung Dao as the embodiment of national spirit. Statues were erected in his honor, his writings became sacred texts, and his life, an inspiration to those facing adversity. The story of Tran Hung Dao and the Bach Dang victory is not merely a chapter in the annals of war. It is a story of hope, intelligence, and the enduring power of a people determined to shape their own destiny. In the face of overwhelming odds, when surrender seemed inevitable, one man dared to trust in his people, his land, and the tides of history itself. And so, the river flows on, its waters whispering the tale of Tran Hung Dao, the stakes at Bach Dang, and the day when courage turned the tide of an empire.